Version 3.4 might actually be one of the hardest patches we have ever had when it comes to pull decisions. We are getting a full Cyberpunk collab with Lucy and Rebecca, and one of them being completely free, and on top of that, Lucilla is coming right after and looks like a near perfect support for a DPS that most of you already have. That's exactly why this patch is so important. In this video, we are going to break everything down. What each character actually bring to the table, their potential kits, team synergies, overall value, and most importantly, who you should prioritize depending on your account. Because trust me, if you don't plan this properly, you will regret your pulls in 3.4. But before that, please hit the like and subscribe button. Now if you have done so, let's get this video started. Now let's quickly go over the banner timeline. Phase 1 runs from 10th of June around to 1st of July. Lucy is the featured limited to 5-star and Rebecca is completely free. Every player can claim one copy just by logging in or through the event. Rebecca also has her own banner if you want extra copies. Then Phase 2 runs from around 1st of July to 22nd of July, featuring Lucilla. That said, we are not 100% sure yet, but there's a good chance the collab banners will last the entire duration of version 3.4, or maybe even longer. It could work similarly to how the Fate collaboration and Honkai's Tower banners were handled. So they probably won't be locked to just Phase 1, but again we will have to wait for the official livestream to confirm the exact schedule. Now since Rebecca is free, if you are planning to fully commit to the collab, the only character you would actually need to pull is Lucy. She's already confirmed to be a Spectra pistol unit. Right now the Spectra attribute is in pretty solid spot thanks to recent additions like Linnea and Luke. But because of those two, it also narrows down to what we can realistically expect from Lucy's kit. If you are familiar with Lucy from the show, it's pretty fair to expect her to be a strong damage dealer, but also with some level of utility. She's capable of taking down enemies physically, but her signature ability is hacking, which suggests her kit might include some supportive elements as well. So a hybrid playstyle, dealing strong DPS while also offering some support, would actually fit her character really well. That said, she's currently placed between Luke and Linnea. Luke is a top tier main DPS, while Linnea is arguably the best sub DPS in the game. And realistically, it's very hard for anyone to compete with Linnea's value. Because of that, it makes more sense for Lucy to lean toward being a main DPS, but with a different playstyle compared to Luke. Instead of sustained damage, she might focus more on burst damage, having certain abilities that allow her to deal huge damage in short windows. This would naturally allow for quick swapping with another DPS, which is something Luke does not really do. Luke is more of a hyper carry who deals consistent damage across his entire kit and does not benefit much from swapping. On top of that, Luke's damage is actually pretty technical. Even though it looks simple, in practice it's not that easy, especially with aerial combos and the fact that some of its attacks don't perform well in AoE situations. So because of that, Lucy might end up being much easier to play and more effective in modes like Wuthering Waves. And since she is a pistol user, she will likely have a ranged playstyle, which also makes her safer to use compared to melee units. Now looking at Lucy's traits directly from the show, like I mentioned earlier, she can hack basically anything, even people, thanks to her cybernetic implants. Her main weapon is also that retractable wire, which she uses to either bind enemies or slice them apart. Kuro has been pretty consistent with keeping characters lore accurate, so it would not be surprising if Lucy's attack involved those wires, even though she's classified as a pistol unit. That would give her a fast, agile playstyle while still being able to attack from distance. Then there's a hacking aspect. This could translate into debuffs or maybe give her team some sort of damage amplification. But speaking of that, recently we got info from a reliable informant. He said that Lucy is a heavy attack main DPS, meaning she benefits a lot from heavy attack amplification. Maybe potentially synergize really well with units like Murtafi or Yuno. This info also stated that she can give basic attack damage amplification. So I guess that's her hacking ability that we mentioned earlier. These new units are also capable of doing toon hack response, probably something to do with other cyberpunk units, or should I say exclusive mechanic. So if her best in slot team would end up with Rebecca, I think that's actually a good thing for future Lucy mains, since her support is basically a free 5-star later, and this means you don't have to compete with other teams for a single heavy attack supporter, like for example Yuno. Overall, I'm pretty confident Kuro won't disappoint with Lucy. They will likely keep her faithful to the source material, especially since this collab will probably bring in a lot of new players. Now moving on to Rebecca, the good news is everyone gets her for free when the collab drops. Just like Lucy, she's also a pistol user, but she's confirmed to be Electro. That's not surprising if you have seen the show, since she uses all kind of guns. Looking at the current state of Electro and after knowing from the reliable info that Lucy is the main DPS, it's very likely that Rebecca will be more of a sub DPS or support. That means she can still deal damage, but her main role would be boosting the main DPS. We already have Augusta as a strong Electro main DPS, so there's not really a need for another one right now. And since we haven't had a new Electro sub DPS since Yulin back in 1.0, it makes a lot more sense for Rebecca to fill that role. So if we assume Rebecca is a sub DPS or support, then the question becomes what kind of buffs does she provide? Thankfully, there was another information yesterday. He also said that Rebecca is a heavy attack supporter, meaning she could give the next resonator a heavy attack damage amplification, though I'm not sure how much the number is. The leak also said that most of Rebecca's damage mostly will be considered as basic attack damage. So if you look back at Lucy's kit, that can also give basic attack damage amplification, both of them definitely a best in slot for each other. So this means it's the same situation like Augusta and Yuno, but we have to remember that Yuno can be used as a main DPS, since her personal damage is something that should not be underestimated. So I think there's also a chance that Rebecca can be played as a main DPS too, since she uses basic attack damage, so this potentially makes Sanwa one of her best supports. But for this, we have to wait for her numbers to see if Rebecca is really worth it to be built and play as a main DPS. And then the Toon Hack responses, similar to Lucy, there's probably a new exclusive combat for edgerunners unit, so I'm so excited what this new Toon break brings to the table for us. As for her abilities, even though she's labeled as pistol unit, she definitely won't just be using a pistol. Rebecca is known for using a wide range of weapons, shotguns, machine guns, so if they stay true to the show, her kit will likely include multiple weapon types, along with chaotic and flashy animations. Just like Lucy, she'll probably have a safe, ranged playstyle but still feel dynamic and fun to use. And considering how much potential she has, getting her for free is honestly huge. Now for the second phase, we have Lucilla. She's confirmed to be a Glacio Rectifier Resonator, which is not surprising since most people already expected her to be a Glacio unit. This also lines up with Hyuki, who's expected to get a Glacio Shave sub DPS soon. Right now, Hyuki's best partner is Linnae, mainly because of the insane buffs she provides, but since Hyuki is a Glacio Chaff main DPS, it makes sense that a dedicated Glacio Chaff sub DPS would eventually replace Linnae, and that's most likely where Lucilla comes in. But beside the info for Lucy and Rebecca, it seems like there was also news about Lucilla, and I think this is quite reliable, considering the informant is Scylla. So apparently Lucilla's combat tags are Concerto Efficiency, Basic Attack Damage or Echo Damage, Damage Amp, Echo Skill Damage Amp, and Utilize Glacio Chaff Effect. So when it comes to Concerto Efficiency, Lucilla is definitely won't disturb your rotation. So her still having Glacio Chaff mechanics is actually not surprising at all. So we can expect her to apply a lot of Glacio Chaff stacks, which then convert into Glacio Bite, triggering more instances of Glacio damage. This also leads to Frostbite activating more often, freezing enemies when certain conditions are met. On top of that, since she's replacing Linnae in Hyuki's team, she will probably also provide strong buffs like Glacio damage bonuses, amplification, and maybe even enhancements to Glacio Chaff itself. And similar to Dania and Linnae, she might also work as a sub DPS and deal solid damage herself. This is supported by the recent info. In the combat tags, her damage is mostly considered as basic attack damage and even echo damage. This is probably the most surprising info that we got for Lucilla. Her being a Glacio Chaff supporter is nothing new, but echo skill is kinda interesting. She can deal echo damage as well as giving her team an echo skill damage amplification. Even the reliable source also stated that Lucilla is having a similar mechanic like Linnae, Amiet, and Dania, which is the resonance mode. But if you think about it, it's actually a solid move done by Kuro to release a unit that's actually versatile and open up for more diverse compositions. We expect her to be like Dania that can be used in Fusion Burst teams and Toon Strain, but for Lucilla she might be a Glacio Chafe and Toon Raptor supports. But the devs turn out not to leave Sigrica behind since her best in slot support is now only Chiyuan. So with Lucilla, Sigrica mains might be happy since it creates more opportunities to form a new comp. This also potentially makes Chiyuan himself, Prolova, and Galbrena stronger in the future. But if you assume this information about her is correct, then who is the user of this echo set? Previously we thought that Lucilla at least had Toon abilities in her skill set, and she is the memory type resonator which fit perfectly for this set. But it turned out she does not. So I guess we will be having a new set in 3.4, probably the best in slot for her. But to summarize everything about her, Lucilla has massive potential, not just for Hyuki, but for multiple team comps like Echo Skill Damage for example. Overall, version 3.4 is shaping up to be one of the best updates we have ever had. We are getting a free Rebecca, 2 collab characters, and Lucilla, all of whom have strong value. Lucy and Rebecca in particular might never return, which already makes them extremely valuable. Rebecca being free is a huge plus. As for Lucy, whether you pull her depends on a few things. If she's designed to pair with Rebecca, then pulling her becomes a very strong option. But if you already have a well-built look, or you are not into cyberpunk, then skipping her is completely understandable. Still, because of her uniqueness and potential playstyle, she's definitely worth considering. As for Lucilla, it's pretty straightforward. If you are using Hyuki or playing Glacio teams, she's a very strong pick up. But if you're already satisfied with Hyuki and Lene, then her value might be lower for you. Same goes for eco skill damage comps. If you are doing just fine with Frolova and Cantarella, maybe skipping Lucilla is still okay. But if you want broader team comps specific for this archetype, then you can consider to pull Lucilla. At the end of the day, all of these characters can have a big impact on your account. They don't look completely broken, but their overall value is definitely high. So yeah, version 3.4 is something that you should seriously prepare for. So that's it for how to pull video about patch 3.4. So what do you guys think about these three characters? Which one interests you the most? Are you planning to pull the collab characters or Lucilla instead? Or maybe all of them? Please share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notification as well so you won't be missing out on any of my Wuthering Waves content. I will see you guys on my next one. Bye bye!